and then you can go back
That's
queen
what I'm
h1.
saying. I feel like that confident glance we saw Jan shoot across the board to Magnus, right?
But we see
Is there knight g1 here?
queen h2,
King f1. And I don't know if it leads anywhere, but you can't take g3 because of rook g8 check. And at least I'm asking you some questions of what next. I might have knight f3.
No, it's an idea. It's kind of funny looking.
There's
But it's
actually
an
weird
idea.
lines with h4 now, and check g8, king f6, check c6, king e7. You win the bishop, hg3. What's going on there?
I have no idea.
Like, there's just like, I think the problem might be that it allows h4.
What if-
But
What did it take him?
maybe.
even g takes h4 is
G4.
possible.
Okay, yeah. Simple stuff.
And actually, not. Oh, that my line doesn't work. But
I think black can play, for example, queen to b2 pretty safely.
just go back.
But white can play around like this. White can play knight e2 or knight... I don't know if knight f3 leaves the king 2 open, but knight e2 leads to a position... Well, actually it leads to a repetition. Queen b1, king f2, queen h1, and so on. Knight to g1.
Find the beauty
This
of
looks
repetition.
familiar.
Yep. Maybe that's his idea, although it's a funny... It's a bit awkward to put your knight on g1 and your king on f1.
It's funny,
Fully-
Magnus is now the one under 5 minutes, the one under time pressure.
I'm trying every last attempt. Knight g1 is just prove your draw. It looks easily provable, as we're discussing with the queen just going back over queen h2 check, queen back to b2, but
One question, what about rook to e5 here?
okay.
So if queen h2, maybe I'll put my king in the center,
King e1.
queen h1, king d2, and queen b1. That doesn't look very promising.
Yeah,
It looks like the king is going to a bad place,
they were to the bad place.
to the sunken place.
Turns out the good place is the bad place. Oh, sorry, twist ending.
Spoiler.
Hey, you know what?
Ted Danson would be so
I love you, Ted
disappointed in
Danson.
you.
You are a legend. What?
I said Ted Danson would be so disappointed in you.
Ted Danson loves chess, by the way.
True.
Shout out to Ted if you're watching this show.
All right, so yeah. We see the queen just maneuvering around.
Rook to b1 is interesting, asking a question of where to put that bishop. If bishop c5, maybe rook e5 is, maybe it's not a big deal, but it's a bit awkward looking. And if bishop to a7, then you might get hit with some 7th rank
Rook
attacks.
e7.
Yeah, then bishop c5, rook e5.
Right,
We're,
we're just
Yeah, you
Trying
force
to-
the bishop. Force the bishop where it doesn't want to be on a square like this, so that you can gain a tempo. And
but maybe this is okay. Queen to d3. Did we actually gain anything?
well, this if rook c5, knight d4, it's not here. But at some point, you can consider going for this, and if it's clear that black should have a bunch of checks and be able to survive.
I mean, is it that clear?
Well, queen to b2, king to f3, queen to b7. I feel like we're in the territory of a draw here.
Right.
Okay.
But the thing is, you lose sight of that idea at some
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
and it
No,
catches you by
with
surprise.
I'm with you. I'm liking it. I'm loving it.
You want some more of it?
I'm wanting some more of it. That's what I want.
So what is Jan going to do here? This is not the easiest choice, but I guess the bishop is going to end up on c5. You can drop your queen back to just defend the bishop, but that seems... Because if queen c6, maybe there's like rook e5 or b5 coming.
Yeah, queen c6, rook e5. I don't know how bad it is because black, like f5 is a bit difficult to take without getting hit with queen e4 and all sorts
the,
of
the
tactics.
tactics on e3 rear their ugly head as soon as you
For sure.
take the rook off the e file.
But you still have to make a move there, which is not the easiest thing, right?
Don't tell me what I have to do. All right, fine. Queen c6, rook e5.
Because my next move is rook b1 to b5, most likely.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't go here anymore.
Here, rook c1 wins.
Yep. All right, we have a move, bishop a7. So this is what we anticipated. Now, rook e7, bishop c5, rook e5. It actually didn't do anything, apparently, we learned.
Well, you can also... I wonder if you can start with rook e5? Because after queen d3, there could be like rook b7.
Yeah, this.
This is...
About a squares.
Yeah, squares, you're in trouble. You have queen a3, but that's a bit suspicious looking.
Yeah, this doesn't look great.
Even if it's somehow okay, it's not really what
Is it
black is
okay,
looking.
though?
Yeah, king. Oh no, a7 is also hanging.
Yeah.
Bishop c5, rook f7.
Man, if
King
you
G6.
survive that, I'm gonna not be happy. Not happy, Bob.
Looks like you're surviving.
So maybe, maybe rook e5 immediately.
Look at that.
There's also rook e5, queen d7.
So rook e5, queen, but then I go rook to b5 probably.
Yeah.
Wait,
One,
but what do you?
if queen d3, rook b7.
Rook
we said,
b7?
yeah. This one actually looks very
I
dangerous.
think we're about to see rook e5 on the board. Oh, rook e7. Okay.
Rook e5 felt like a better chance. But maybe it's all
We
the
just
same.
looked at this with bishop c5, rook e5 to follow with tempi. The queen takes which square? I mean, the main one we looked at was d3, taking advantage of the fact that you can't play rook b5. The bishop cuts off communication. This is sort of.
But you can play rook b7 here.
But then I thought it was.
Bishop d6, it might be rook d7. You have to be like super careful about these weird pins, and
Yeah, this is suddenly getting sharp and not easy for black anymore.
especially with under 4 minutes in the
Yep.
clock.
Yep.
But he should play bishop c5, right? What other moves?
I mean,
There's nothing
queen
else.
a2 is the only other move.
But then rook to b7
Yeah, rook b7.
and take f7.
Okay. Touche.
And yeah, he plays bishop c5. We should consider the possibility of, let's say, queen a2, rook b7, bishop c5, rook f7, and a trade on f7. Because that's not
Yeah,
an immediately obvious endgame.
It seems like white should be winning, though. We'll come back to that. Magnus is.
All white's pawns are on dark squares. On the other hand, black's pawns are super weak as well. f5, let's say a knight on d4 attacks f5. That could become relevant at some point.
Carlsen looks poised to score his first win in classical chess since 2016 of the World Chess Championship.
Wow, so rook e5 feels sort of mandatory at this point. Is there another move that?
Well, if rook c7, you get hit with bishop e3. And I think you need to take the fat head out in case that happens.
Here he goes. Rook e5.
Of course, yeah.
Here he goes.
And I'm wondering if what Magnus was doing right there is trying to think of his follow-up. Because when you're in time trouble, I think a very good thing to do often is have your moves in pairs.
Yep.
So that way you keep your opponent on the clock. Because black's decisions are much more difficult here than white's.
Yep.
So rook b7, how are we meeting rook b7? You can't see Fabiano.
I mean, bishop d6 is the most obvious move, but then rook d7.
Right.
Queen a3 loses to rook takes f5.
What? Okay, I have an idea. Rook b7. What's your next move if I? Oh, wait.
Take a
If I
bishop?
move off, you have knight d4.
The king escapes. I think maybe knight d4 is a move, yeah. Queen d2, king f3, queen d1, king g2. The knight on d4 covers e2. That's important. That's why the king could escape to h3.
Queen d2, king here.
Maybe it's still, the king is a bit too abandoned so that even if you win f5, you still get into perpetual check.
But I think in a player's head, you see this in your head, you're visualizing, you're like, I might just lose this in a few moves as black.
It's scary. You could get mated with
Yes.
knight on f5. But wait, let's see if white has something better after rook b7, bishop a3. Because white also has like rook to a5. I just want to get to the 7th rank somehow.
Is there a problem with rook b5 and just going after the f5 pawn? Because you can't attack e3 anymore.
No, I don't think there's
So
any
just
more
rook
of
b to b5, and then
take
we're going
that
to go
pawn.
lawnmower across the 5th rank.
Again, we have to consider king g6. But there I'm
Oh,
thinking, that looks pretty bad.
Oh,
Oh,
knight takes.
Yeah.
Now, those are those kind of 6th, 7th hour blunders that can happen. Usually not over the board, but as a player's calculating, they think they have some resource. They get to the position and they're like, uh-oh, that's no good. So wait, Jan's, what's going on in the game right here?
He's thinking
So
after
Magnus
queen
is still
d3.
thinking after queen d3.
Yeah, almost under 2 minutes now. Is Carlsen?
Yeah, it's a time that he needs to. It's a critical moment. It's understandable he's thinking here,
Yeah.
but he doesn't want to get down to seconds for the rest of the game.
He does get that increment, right? Both players, 30-second
Yeah.
increment. So every move they make, you see what time they have left as the move is made. They get 30 seconds added to their clock. That's extremely important at this stage of the game. Both players likely exhausted. Magnus looking for a chance here, a chance there. Jan trying to keep Magnus at bay. But I think this move, rook to b7, it just puts that onus on Jan here. And we keep talking about various moves. They're really not easy to play because you might think f5 is falling.
Yep.
You have to calculate what Fabiano keeps talking about. If we get the 2 rooks for the queen and the pawn, white will be able to pawn an endgame. Good chances to win, maybe not winning, but that's not really an ideal scenario for Jan Nepomniachtchi.
I don't see better moves than rook. Wait, there's rook to h1. Wait, that actually wins the h5.
Wait, but
pawn.
bishop d6?
Yeah.
We rook away.
Rook
h1, bishop d6, rook to e8.
It's h5, and the point is that the c5 bishop is still under attack.
Oh,
Magnus
wow.
is under a minute.
So wait, if rook h1, bishop d6, hitting the rook, where do you go?
If rook to e8, there's queen to b5 maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
And
no, I think rook b7 is the idea, the original idea.
But the rook h1 is super critical. I think this is one of the lines that Magnus is.
And he goes rook b7, it looks like.
It looks like it.
There it is.
b7 is on the board.
And
He has roughly a minute on the clock now after the 30 seconds added back.
But even though Magnus is the one dipping below a minute, the position is, of course, much more difficult to play for Jan. Don't be surprised if Jan spends several minutes here trying to figure out, can I play bishop a3, which looks like such a ridiculous move in a sense? Do I play bishop f8 to be closer to my king? But just because you're close to your king doesn't mean that's a good thing. And knight d4 is still on the table there.
Or rook b5,
Rook b5
as you
right.
mentioned.
But the point is that there are several options there for white to try to take advantage of the position. And bishop d6, rook d7, I'm struggling to see a move in response to that. But maybe white can't really make progress there either.
Well, I was thinking about bishop d6, rook d7, king f6.
But there's rook e to e7.
Yeah.
That is super
Queen
nasty.
to c2.
Oh my goodness, that.
Not a move that we saw coming. Now rook c7 doesn't work because a bishop takes.
What about rook to
check.
b5?
Yeah, rook to b5.
Rook to b5 looks like that might even be on the board.
Oh my gosh. but
Rook
that-
to e5.
It does win that
It
f5
was
pawn.
f5.
It's rook to b5. Where does the bishop go without losing the f5 pawn?
Well, anywhere it goes, you're losing that pawn. The question is, do you have some tricks after that? Bishop to a7, rook f5, queen e4. That's the only thing I can think of.
Bishop to a7, rook to f5, queen to e4, hits the e3 pawn. That's
that's-
actually
that's
really
huge.
key.
I don't know because
Oh,
there's
and
still.
he finds it. Bishop a7. Jan is defending this position.
But there's rook g5 check and rook b3 at the very least that holds everything together.
Yeah,
Okay, rook a5 played with the tempo.
I like that. It gains time.
repeating.
We talked about
Yeah.
this, right?
Yep.
We see the beauty in repetition, but his clock.
The
sees
beauty in gaining time on the clock.
Exactly. His clock gains
Yep.
time, and he can just go back. There's nothing that Jan can do here. This is a really smart decision by Magnus Carlsen. And there was that one line, I think if we can quickly show it, that Fabian and I were discussing in our heads.
Which
that
line?
if the bishop had gone to d6, when the rook went to b7, just right here, bishop d6, we're saying rook d7, and if king f6, there's rook e to e7, which is a really nasty
wow.
looking move because it pins everywhere. So, I mean, there's a lot to figure out, but we should go back to the game.
Yeah,
position.
I'm wondering. So rook takes f5, queen to e4, rook to g5. What does black do?
Rook, we're about to find out.
Queen e4,
Rook
rook
takes
g5.
f5, queen to e4,
So,
rook to g5.
The king can't
check.
go anywhere.
oh, because king f6 is rook f5.
King f6,
check.
rook f5 trades the
Rook,
rooks
rook
off.
f5,
Yeah,
and
but
you have to take everything because if you move to the e file, rook e5 wins.
But I probably, unless I'm 100% sure that's a win, which I'm not, I would play after king f6, rook b5 to b3. I can play this game forever. And we talked about how the more time the players have,
That's actually a really good point.
the better it will be for Magnus. He is now, I mean, he's in the driver's seat.
Either way, he's winning in that line. Jan has played queen to d3 rather than queen e4. This is super revealing that